So interior design trends are shifting so incredibly fast, and trends from 2024 are now already on their way out. In this episode, I'm going to be talking about these trends and also my feng shui holistic design take on these trends. I'll tell you what I'm excited to let go of. Welcome to Feng Shui Living, a podcast for busy women looking to de-stress and live with more intention. I'm Lisa Morton, and I'm passionate about helping you create a home that not only inspires you, but empowers you. Years ago, I was severely struggling with my mental health and wellness, and while I'd implemented yoga, meditation, therapy, and more, I just could not find that missing piece of the puzzle. And that was until I explored my home. You see, the interior designer in me had made it beautiful, but it wasn't supporting me energetically. Fast forward, and I've now been in the interior design industry for 20 years, and I've devoted the past 10 years to Feng Shui and a holistic design approach. In this podcast, I'll be sharing with you interviews, stories, and knowledge, as well as some super easy, simple tips that you can take on today. If you're looking to be more intentional and create a life and home that you love, then you're in the right place. Hello there, and welcome to today's episode of Feng Shui Living. I'm your host, Lisa Morton. Today's topic is going to be kind of different, and so if you're a returning listener, thanks for hanging out again. If you're brand new, you might be like, why is the Feng Shui lady talking design trends? But that's really because I have a background in traditional kind of approach to interior design. I've done this work for 2 decades. And over that time, even before I found my holistic feng shui approach, I found it fascinating how design trends and styles, they would really morph and shift over time, how the cycles would happen. And it's been really a fun kind of observation. But with that being said, I'm noticing that these cycles of trends are happening faster and faster and faster. Something that maybe would have been around for 10 years, it's in and out in a year. And I have to think some of that is social media, right? Because I'm in the Midwest, and I've always kind of lived in the Midwest, Great Lakes kind of area, with the exception of our, spending time in Florida. But I kind of think a lot of these trends probably are starting, on the coast, and then it takes a while to get in, right, to the Midwest kind of area. So maybe they survive longer, and maybe social media is just making everything happen so quickly, so fast, that it's just happening faster. So I thought it would be a fun episode to do today. I was also inspired because I'm working on a class coming up January 27th, mark your calendars, and go sign up to reserve your ticket today. This class is all about 2025 design trends. Here's the thing. Design trends are so fun. It's fun to learn about styles. If you're building, if you're remodeling, if you're just redesigning your home in any way, or someone, this is a can't miss class. You see, we can design spaces, we can bring different colors and trends into our spaces, but we need to know how those things, how those how the aesthetics are going to impact our body and our lives, and also the lives of our family, our children, our pets, right? Not every trend is really meant for us, right? If you're someone who struggles with your health and well-being, if you're struggling with your health, there are certain things that you probably want to bring in, and also things you want to avoid in your space. Maybe you have some anxious kiddos. It's important to know how you can support them, and certain trends that you may not want to bring in that will affect them as well. So I'm so excited about my class on the 27th. Get your ticket now. Also, you're going to get all kinds of downloads that will help you implement things you learn in the class, and there will be giveaways and discounts. It's kind of going to be a really great, informative class, but also just a fun time too, because I like to make it all fun. So I would love to have you. I'll put a link in the show notes for more information on this. But that got me thinking. I'm like, well, what's going out of in the end of 2024? What are we letting go of? And how is that working in our spaces? Like, how is that going to affect our bodies by, in our environment? How is it going to affect everything? And so I was fascinated. So I did some research, and I looked into trends that I read about, I did some research on, but then also things that I and other designers that I know we've been experiencing. So here we go. We're going to talk trends. First things first, you never, ever, 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 ever have to follow a design trend. That is not something you ever have to do. I simply encourage being aware of trends so that you can have just that spark of inspiration, right? If you're stuck, you're thinking, okay, we're remodeling next year. I don't know what to do. I don't know what colors, patterns, textures. I don't know where to start. Then look into trends and see what's going on. See what's big in the world of design. But if you don't like it, certainly do not take it on. I want you to take on a trend if you feel like it makes you feel really good, or you're like, hey, I never thought about that. That's really cool. We want to implement that into our home. Okay, so just first things first. Secondly, always think resale. I've had many clients that say, oh, we will never leave our home. We will never leave. And they do. Something happens. Life happens. They have to relocate. Someone gets a job. They have to downsize. They have parents coming that need to live with them, and they need to expand their home, right? You never know. So always keep resale in the back of your mind. Just don't forget it, because you never know. I've just had that happen too many times that I have to say that, okay? So again, thanks to social media, trends are just happening like lightning speed. And I don't know, it can feel probably overwhelming, I think, to a lot of people, but it's also kind of a reminder of how influential, our homes have become in recent years in really shaping our lives. People are realizing more and more the importance of just creating that home that really nourishes you and your soul. So I'm excited. White kitchens are being replaced with warmer, cozier wood tones. Colors are getting more bold. We're stepping away from the blank slate feeling. And also, I love this one, people are really discovering the importance of quality pieces and avoiding the fast furniture pieces. You've probably heard the term fast fashion, right? Those things you get at discount stores, and they're not good quality. You wear them twice, you wash it, and it falls apart, right? We don't want that. It just goes to the landfill. And the same with furniture. There's so much fast furniture out there that you can get for really inexpensive, but it's not going to last, and it's going to fall apart and end up in the landfill before you know it. Now, do you have to buy, incredibly expensive heirloom quality pieces? No, but just be aware of what is fast furniture and maybe something a little more quality, a little more durable. All right, let's get into the trends. I'm so excited. Oh, I can't wait for number one. Number one is gray flooring. Gray flooring is going to be heading out in 2025. So if you have gray flooring, I'll say this, you don't need to remodel. Keep your gray flooring until it is time to be renewed, right? Refreshed. But if you're looking to remodel, redecorate, I don't encourage you to select gray flooring. Now, there is this side of me, I loved the gray colors, but gray isn't really natural with wood, right? Like gray doesn't exist in nature and trees, really. I actually had a client years ago when I did aircraft interiors. I had a client, he was a very well-known, very successful, famous techie guy. And he wanted gray. So with the galley of these airplanes where the food is prepared and everything, the galleys would be these exotic, gorgeous wood veneers, like really luxurious, beautiful wood veneers. And this gentleman wanted a gray coloring, a gray stain on it. So we took multiple different species of woods with patterns, with, just different variation. And we stained them in various shades of gray to present to him as options. And really his big comment was like, I don't like any of them because I see brown. I see wood. And I'm like, well, it is a tree, right? We have to remember this is a tree. Like if you don't want wood, we have to think differently and just like a painted gray finish, right? But he couldn't put it together that why there was any brown undertone. Kind of, it was a warm gray when he wanted really just a cool gray with no presence of wood. So it was really interesting to kind of get that across and understand him and him understand why we provided what we did. Anyway, I always think about that like it's a tree, right? Some people don't always think about a lot of these natural materials, you know. Same gentleman actually looked at all because we do beautiful granite or marbles, you know, stone countertops in the bathrooms and in the galley. And one gentleman, actually the same gentleman, he did not like the stones we had presented. He picked out one, but he's like, I want this exactly 30% lighter. And inside I'm thinking, oh, it's a rock. Like I can do my best and we can pick out the piece that looks, you know, roughly 30%, but maybe he was just a very analytical guy and I'm just not that. So we didn't mesh. Anyway, moved on from that project. We got it done. It was fine. It was good. But just opened my eyes about natural materials, right? So I want to touch on the feng shui aspects of gray flooring. So, you know, if you've listened to the podcast for a while, you know I'm always talking about the importance of your floors. Like we neglect really thinking about our floors. Sometimes we're just like, whatever, give it a quick sweep and be done. But it's a great place to put intention. Like I love to sweep my floor. And we have a Roomba and, you know, all that. But I love to go and sweep my floor with intention and like recite a mantra or a prayer or a poem or something to my floor as I'm sweeping it. Think about your feet are on the earth. That's your connection to the earth. It is so important. It is so important. It's also important to have it feel good. I have a friend who was temporarily living in an apartment and she was in between things and the carpet was gross and brown. I'm like, you have to clean it. She's like, my socks are black. And that just really does not give us that grounding sensation. So like those earthy colors beneath our feet feel really supportive. So I love earth tones under your feet, not necessarily metal element, which would be gray, right? Gray metal element of feng shui brings in like focus and just like clarity, which is good. You know, like in an office, we want productivity and focus and, you know, it's just a different energy. So I don't love the metal element in your flooring. If it is wood, stained wood, okay. But anyway, that's just my take on the gray flooring. I'm happy to see something new, some warmer wood tones. But we're going to talk more about that in my 2025 design trends class. Again, if you're remodeling, rebuilding, new construction, redesigning at all, this is a can't miss class. Plus, I'll have all kinds of giveaways. All right, on to number 2. That is, let's see, number 2 is solid gray and solid white walls. You know, gray became so popular during this flipping craze that everybody went through. Everybody was buying homes and flipping homes, and gray felt easy. I worked with a lot of investors, and we did a lot of gray, like a soft gray, because it was easy. It worked great, but we're moving on. People are tired of solid gray, solid white walls. It can sometimes feel a little sterile. And again, in the feng shui world, gray and white are metal elements. So it's just more of a metal element in a space. And we can kind of feel stuck sometimes with too much metal. It doesn't make us feel good. We need a little more like grounding, a little fluidity. Again, it's important to get all elements balanced in a space for the activity in the space. So less metal element on the walls, bring in some color. I'm excited to share about some of the colors that we'll be seeing in 2025. As you can probably guess, a lot of moody colors have been happening, and it's been fun to see. Next is open shelving is going to be heading out. I have a love-hate relationship with open shelving. I think it looks cool. I think it looks fun. I think it looks neat, but you have to be mindful that things are exposed. Your glassware is exposed. If it's sitting out and it gets dusty, because I don't know about you, but I always kind of start in the front when I use glasses. I pull glassware out of the cabinet and I use it, and then the next one, and there's some in the back that don't get used very often. They get dusty sometimes, especially if they're sitting out. They're exposed to the elements. So you might have to dust and clean. The shelves are going to have to be dusted. There's also the element of visual clutter. If you're someone that struggles with clutter, with seeing anything, you really need it tidy and nice and clean and organized, you are probably going to struggle with this open shelving. It's the exposed shelving. It can really kind of stir up things in our nervous system, and we don't even realize it. So, it can feel too overwhelming. So I encourage you to, if you really want to do open shelving, I was actually talking with a friend today. She's thinking about remodeling a kitchen. And I'm like, here's the thing. If you want to do some open shelving, maybe some cool floating shelves, do a section, do maybe 2, but then enclose the rest. Keep things behind doors. Put a cool decorative dish out, maybe some cool glassware, some interesting, martini glasses, and then put the rest behind doors so it can stay tidy, clean, and your kitchen will then feel clutter-free. We know clutter causes unease and stress. So again, if you struggle, really avoid this open shelving concept. If you have open shelving and you're like, oh my gosh, that's why I'm so anxious in my kitchen. Who knew? Think about adding some doors. It will transform your feeling in the kitchen. Let's move on to number 4 trend that is staying in 2024, and that is sliding barn doors. So barn doors were fun. And there are certain homes that they work beautifully. If you have a kind of farm-inspired home, it works great. My sister-in-law has a sliding barn door on her laundry room, and it looks really cool. Their home is in a very more rural area. And actually, you look out the window next to the door, and you look across the way, and there are horse stables. So it's very fitting. However, if you live in a very modern apartment, the sliding barn door just doesn't fit. So it just seems bizarre sometimes. Plus, the main thing is they don't really serve the needs that a door requires. They don't diffuse sound like we need. If someone's watching TV and you close a sliding barn door, it's not going to dampen the sound. You're still going to hear the TV. And the same with light. It will let cracks of light in. And it doesn't always function great. They can be clunky. The latches can be clunky. It just doesn't work great. So unless you really, really love it, don't be adding these to your next project. I just think you'll be much happier with a more traditional style door. Or even a pocket door. If you're building construction and you don't want a traditional open and closed door, think of a pocket door. You have to ensure you have the space on either side for the pocket to slide in between the walls. But if you're building new construction, should be able to be done. Maybe some tweaks. Number 5, we have, 3 more now. So number 5 is ultra minimalism. Minimalism and maximalism, kind of two polar opposites, have been big this year. Very clean lined, very sleek, modern, ultra modern minimalism is heading out. So I naturally tend to minimalism. I like things clean. I like things organized. I don't like a lot of visual clutter. I like a few pieces that really say something, that really make a statement, or that I really value and I really love, not just stuff, right? That's my personal view. So instead of this ultra minimalism, you're seeing people are craving more textures, right? Maybe instead of going ultra minimalism, bring in some textures, bring in some patterns. If you're building, think about like upping it. Wherever you want it to be, think about adding a few really intentional pieces to add a little more interest, to add a little more pattern, design, and texture. Next is number 6, is kind of interesting. It's terrazzo. If you've seen terrazzo, it was kind of everywhere. Like you could go to Target and you could buy coasters that have a terrazzo look to them, right? So terrazzo is a composite material that it's created from chips of quartz and granite and all these other materials like held together with an epoxy. I tell people it kind of reminds me of like a quartz countertop. Like it's crunched up, put together, voila, right? So it's cool. It's been everywhere, right? But you have to have the right style of home for it to work, and or else it feels forced. So we have sort of it's uninhabitable at the moment, but our Florida home that was beat up by the hurricane has terrazzo floors in it. It's very cool. It's a house from the 60s. It's a ranch. It has some of those 60s quirks, Floridian 60s quirks about it, and like design features that makes it really fun. So the terrazzo floor goes really well in there. But if you don't live in a home where this really lends itself well, then I encourage you to look for some more like natural wood tones. Really, this is going to feel more natural. And while it's fun, if you want to bring in some sort of terrazzo pattern, I saw everything with terrazzo pattern. I even saw coffee mugs with painted pattern. Go for something fun like that. Just maybe don't invest in flooring because it's not cheap either. Don't invest in terrazzo flooring unless it's something you really love and you really want to live with forever. With that being said, my beautiful terrazzo floors, the gentleman we purchased the home from ripped up all the carpeting that was covering them from the little old lady that lived there before him. She put carpeting down, yes, even in the bathroom in this home. He ripped it up and cleaned up the terrazzo floors, polished them. They're beautiful. I'm told that they should be beautiful once again after we clean up from the hurricane. So I sure am just hoping so much. Let's get into our last one, which is kind of, you might hate me for this one. Don't hate me. But that's word art. Word art is out. You know, the framed pieces with all these words, you know, live, laugh, love. We've seen it. We've done it. We're over it. I mean, it was heading out before 2024 even came. If you still have some of this, here's the thing. If you have a piece of word art that you really love, then keep it. I have a piece that is, it just makes me have a good day. Okay. So it's a sign my husband got me, and it said, it's a good day to have a good day. He got me this when I was going through a difficult time. And I see that every day, and it really brings me grounding. It brings me a sense of clear-headedness. Is that a word? I feel clear. I feel strong. I feel grounded. I feel supported. So I love seeing that. But if it's just something to take up space that has a cute saying on it, maybe it's time for something new. Replace that with a beautiful piece of art. You know, I love to support local artists. Find some artists in your community that you love and display their art where the word art was, because we just want to let some of that go. It can kind of have a cheesy effect, right? All right. So we talked about gray floors heading out, solid gray and white walls, staying back in 2024, not going with us. Open kitchen shelving, sliding barn doors, ultra minimalism, terrazzo, and last, word art. I hope this has been fun. If you do want to check out that 2024 2025 Design Trends class. Go sign up now, get your ticket. If you know someone building, remodeling, share information about this class with them. Again, I'm going to be doing all kinds of giveaways, so people will win consultations, all kinds of good stuff. Friends, if you have questions, you want to know more about what do I do with these things that are in my home, but they're going to be out of style, no worries, we can work with it, right? We're just thinking about our future. What do we not want to use in 2025? But I have a free 15-minute discovery call. You can head over to my website to sign up for that. I hope you've had fun, and I hope you're ready to really take on 2025, whether you're remodeling, building a new home, simply redecorating, or just really taking inventory on stuff in your space, the items in your space, and if it really fills your soul and makes you smile. As my teacher Luann always says, does it really juice you up, right? Because we want it to juice you up and get all excited and joyful. Well, friends, I will see you at our next episode. Take care. Special thanks to our production company, Influencer.tv, the WELT 95.7 studios, and our sponsor, Good She. For more information, head over to the show notes. Be sure to hit the like button, hit subscribe, and give us a 5-star review. I'll see you next time.